Welcome back to yet another interesting tutorial where I'll be teaching you how I made this beautiful backless dress with a strap on the neckline and on the waist and with elastic on the back waistline. My name is Imelda aka MC. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using. It's an Ankara fabric and I'm going to first of all cut out the lower part of the dress. Okay, so I measured about 3 yards of this fabric. Okay, I measured 3 yards and 1.5 yards would be for the front and 1.5 yards would be for the back part. Okay, so but I'm going to divide the 3 yards into two. All right, so that I will have a 1.5 yard in two places, and one would be on the back and one would be at the front part. This tutorial would be in two places. Part one will be for cutting off all the parts, and then the part two will be for the sewing process. So I've cut out the lower part of my dress. Next, I'm going to cut out the upper part of my dress, which is just the front part. As you already know, the dress is a backless one, and so I'm going to cut just the front part. Okay, so to cut this, I measured the round of my bust. Okay, because that is the fullest part of my upper part, so I measured the my round bust divided by 4. Okay, and that would be the circumference. And then for the length, I'm going to measure from my shoulder to my under bust. Okay, so I added about half an inch on the lower part for joining to the band, okay, on the waist, and then I'm going to add about 1 inch on the upper parts for to pass my strap. Okay, so and that was the measurement for this upper part. So after measuring that, I am going to mark and then cut out. And then for the circumference, I'm going to add half an inch for turning with the lining. Okay, so you can decide to make your own without lining. Adding a lining is not compulsory, it is not mandatory. Okay, I just feel I should add lining just to give the fabric a feeling. Okay, that was why I added lining on that part, so you can decide not to add lining to yours. So next, I'm going to fold my fabric and cut out my strap for the band. Okay, that band around the waist, I'm going to cut out a band for it. All right, so for this dress, it has to be tied on the waist. Okay, which means that this band has to be very long. Okay, so I used about 60 inches for the length of my band. All right, so for this, for the width, I used about 2 inches for the width. Okay, and then I added half an inch on both sides to make it 3 inches. Okay, so that is that for the band on the for the waistband. Okay, I also cut out a strap of about 50 inches for the chest line, okay, for the shoulder, and then I also made it a 2 inches. All right, so I'm going to show you how I'll be sewing that in the next video. So next, I'm going to cut out my pocket. Okay, so for the measurement of the pocket, I just folded my fabric and then placed my finger. Okay, I placed my hand and then traced it out. Okay, you can just place your hand the way I just did and then trace it out. All right, so when I finished tracing it out, the measurement I had was 7 by 9 inches. The length is going to be 9 inches, while the width is going to be just 7 inches. Okay, this is just the measurement I always use for my side pockets. All right, so and this pocket is 4 pieces. All right, it's 4 pieces because 2 would be on both sides each. Yeah, so I'm done cutting all I have to cut. All right, so this is my pocket, my shoulder strap, my waistband, my upper bodice and also my lower bodice. All right, I also went ahead to cut the lining for this. For it, I also cut out the lining, and then I removed the selvage area. The selvage area wasn't part of the fabric. I do not like using sewing and then my selvage area would be showing. I do not like that, so I just removed the excess right there. Initially I didn't want to use lining, so that is why I didn't add allowance for just the lining. Okay, I was supposed to fold it into two, just the way we fold our hem. Okay, but because I'm going to add lining and I just need about half an inch, I just cut out 1 inch extra on both sides. Like I said before, this tutorial is in two parts because the process is very long. Okay, so I just had to shorten the video and show you the sewing part proper. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and like for more interesting tutorials. Bye bye.